to be able to experience things that she never did before. And, you know, being in this position is like, it's been now my mission to really talk about stepping out of ourselves and not to allow age or anything to really stop us from fulfilling dreams and passions.
Hola y bienvenidos. Welcome to Mole Mama Cooking with Love. We're absolutely delighted that you have joined us, and you're about to join us for our weekly adventure where we talk to food bloggers and home chefs and cooks and all types of different entrepreneurs who are inspiring us to connect and to learn, and together we're spreading love, usually one bite at a time. I'm super excited about today's guest. I have Abuela's Kitchen here with us, and let me tell you a little bit about this woman. She is cooking with her grandma. Oh my gosh, her abuela. When I checked out her YouTube page, oh my goodness, it made me so homesick for my mother's own kitchen. And to just see how delightful they work together and just the joy and the love. And if you're not following her yet, go over to Instagram to Abuela's Kitchen or to YouTube. But let me warn you, you're going to be hungry. You're going to be like, okay, where's my tacos, my enchiladas, my tortillas, my burritos? I want all of that. So please eat, or make sure you have something nearby, or you're going to be cooking after the show. That's all I've got to say. So she is here with us today, and we're going to learn more about her. So with that, welcome, Silvia. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you and learn more about Abuela's Kitchen. So why did you start this? How did it get going?
Well, I'm first generation Mexican-American, and I remember visiting my grandma a lot when I was a kid. She used to live in Redondo Beach, California. Then she moved to Tijuana, Baja California. And, you know, there was a time where I wasn't seeing her as much when I started going to the university, like college. And I remember when I graduated and I had my own family, I was like, wait, I didn't learn how to cook.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I had the education, I was teaching and all that good stuff, but I was missing a key element for survival. And so, you know, one day I was at my grandma's house. Now she lives locally in my area, and I was looking at her make tortillas. And I remember making tortillas myself, but they would always come out like hard, and they would come out looking like chupacabras, like nothing round at all. It was just like some weird, random looking piece of art. And I was like, Abuela, can you show me how to make these tortillas? And she's like, sure, why not? And I was like, okay, but can I record you making them? That way, when I go home, I can like manipulate, you know, just do it the way you do it. And she's like, no, you're not going to record me. And in Spanish, you know, she's super feisty off camera. And she's like, no, you're not going to record me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, please let me record you. She finally gave in. I came home, got all my rinky-dink camera and stuff, went back to her house, and I was like, okay, go ahead and start, and let's pretend it's like a show. I didn't have YouTube in mind or anything like that, right?
Wow.
I just was wanting to capture her and her recipe and come back home and recreate it myself. And so I recorded her and I put it on YouTube, you know, Facebook first. And my friends were like, your grandma's so cute, and, you know, I should do more. So we just began to create videos after that.
Oh my goodness, that is such a great story. So you just did it. See, now I always talk about that. I always tell people, please record your tias and your tios and everybody, because there's some little thing that they might do and then you've missed it. Because if you just get a handwritten recipe or you try to write it yourself. So that was so smart of you. And then it's turned into this amazing thing. And how did you come up with the name? Because the name is so just, I love it.
You know, initially when we were doing our videos, we didn't even have a name. I would just be like, welcome to my Abuela's Kitchen. You know, it was nothing that I planned out or anything like that. I would say, welcome back. We're in my Abuela's Kitchen, la cocina de mi abuela. And then one day to the next, we just started saying that every single episode. And so we were like, welcome back to Abuela's Kitchen.
So
La cocina de mi abuela. So
it's fantastic. Okay, so did you cook a little bit while you were growing up then, or not at all? Just a...
I did cook a little bit. Initially, my mom, she would make me cook a few things, but it was mostly baking. Like I really enjoyed baking. My mom loved baking as well, so we would do a lot of that. I made the basic meals, if you want to call it that, chorizo con papa, the basic type of meals. And just watching her cook and just longing for those dishes that I actually grew up with and tasted when I would visit my grandma, when I would visit relatives in Mexico, I really was longing for that flavor, and I was longing for those memories. And so after I started the channel, I also started to use the same recipes and reproduce them for my own family. And so as I started doing that, as I watched and kept using their recipes, because my mom also does some of the cooking, I started using their recipes and, developing my own sazon, doing little changes, additions, and I just became this amazing cook. Just kidding.
That's awesome.
No, but I know what I like, taste wise. I know what I enjoy, so I use that to guide me in like my cooking today.
That's outstanding. So I have to know, have you perfected the round tortilla thing? Because I have not. Mine still look like the United States map, a cow, a lamb. I have not perfected that.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. No.
See, okay, that makes me feel better, because I don't know how many times I helped my mother make tortillas, and that was one of the first things I ever learned how to, to help her with. And whenever I take a photo shoot of my own tortillas, I have to cover them with a towel to try to make them look round, because they are not.
I know what the problem is. Like, I know what my problem is. The problem is I don't make them enough. I think that if I would continuously make them once a week at least, then I know that I would develop that practice and that eye and that feel for how to create a really beautiful round tortilla, because there's dishes that I cook constantly and that are recipes from my abuela, and they come out delicious. So I know it's practice, and I do need to spend a little more time on those tortillas.
They're tough. I think they're tough. They really are. And I find mine taste pretty good, but they don't look pretty. They're not pretty.
I have the taste. I kind of have the design.
Not me.
I still have to work on the texture. Some days when I'm really, there's those weeks where I'm like constantly going at it, I do get that nice blow up, and then there's other days where I'm like, ugh. So, it's a hit and miss these days.
I understand. So, all right. So, what are some of your most popular recipes on your YouTube channel?
Arroz con leche is like our number one.
Really?
Back to it over and over again. I think it's the highest watched video that we have. It used to be the tortillas recipe, but it's now changed to the arroz con leche.
Okay, and for my non-speaking listeners, Spanish-speaking listeners, that is rice pudding, and it's delicious. My mother used to make it for us too, because I grew up on a dairy farm, and so she would use leftover rice and the cream usually of milk, which was amazing. Wow. Okay. Well, I have to check out your recipe, because I don't know how to make my mother's. I don't know how.
It's super simple. Our recipes are pretty basic and simple. Simplicity is key for our channel. The easier, the better. My grandma uses very few ingredients in her cooking, and I've come to find that by doing that, you don't take away from the original taste maybe of a meat product or a chicken. Whatever your main ingredient is, I think that that flavor comes out a little tastier.
So
I
it's
could
a
be wrong.
no, I have backed away also because I there's something to be said for simplicity
Mm,
and having that flavor of it's not 25 ingredients and you're like, oh, it's like, oh, actually it really is a chicken breast.
yeah.
Right, so,
Exactly. What is that?
yes, I completely understand. Okay, so you told us what your most popular one is. What's one of your favorites?
Well, that's a super duper hard question. I love them all. I love all the recipes, but I would have to say enchiladas are probably on my
Oh.
top of the list.
Okay, what kind of enchiladas? Because there's so many different ones.
There's tons of enchiladas, but my abuela's enchiladas are pretty distinct. I think that they come from Michoacan. They're like
Okay.
the traditional enchiladas from Michoacan. There's like puestos everywhere where my abuela is from, and those are like little home setups where they just bring out wood and one of those metal dishes where you just cook on it, and everybody makes them and sells them there. And I remember going to Mexico and tasting that flavor, having that rich flavor straight out of the pan into your mouth. And it has mixed. They throw chicken in there, potatoes in the mix while they're making and creating your enchilada. And these enchiladas are potato enchiladas with cheese. It's not like just
Ooh.
cheese or whatever type of chicken enchiladas or whatever. The chicken is actually made separate on the same dish. They call it caso, but they are cooked. They could be cooked together, and that rich flavor of this red sauce is just something else to me.
Okay, I love potatoes and I have made potato enchiladas because for my day job, I work with a lot of people that are vegetarian. So I've adjusted my mother's recipe to have, oh, papas. I just love
Yeah.
papas. That sounds amazing. Okay, I have to go check out that recipe too
You
to
definitely
see.
do. They are super good. Like that's the only enchiladas my daughter really enjoys, which is
Ah.
I thought was super funny, but she loves them.
And is it with corn tortillas or flour
Corn
tortillas?
tortillas,
Mm.
and she makes this tomato like sauce that she drizzles over it. It's just tomato with oregano, blended, and it's not a
Ah.
spicy sauce. It's just a topping sauce that she puts after she makes the enchiladas. It's out of this world.
Oh, I have to go check that out. My mother used to make a sauce too with oregano and tomatoes, and she's used to put a little bit of onion in it.
Yeah, onion.
And
I think she adds also vinegar to it, and it's
oh,
her own homemade vinegar. She won't use store
oh,
vinegar.
really? Oh boy. Oh boy. She definitely sounds like she would have gotten along with my mom. So most definitely. So if she was here right now, what would she say is her favorite recipe?
She would tell you she doesn't like any of her recipes. She would rather eat out. These are her recipes, recipes she's developed, recipes she grew up on. But if it was up to her, she would eat out and not Mexican food.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So you were talking about how now you're starting to put kind of your own mark on some of these recipes. How are you doing that? How are you updating some of them or changing your family's recipes?
well, a lot of us are working mothers and we have side hustles, so many things that we are now involved in as women. And time is, a factor. And so some of the recipes I've kind of manipulated with the time factor, making it a little easier, making it, instead of frying the enchiladas, putting them in as simple as, baking them, and even making them a little more healthy, because my abuela does make her enchiladas in lard. And so, I have changed that. And, I'll share it with the public if anybody wants to go that route. But I make sure to say that, it's my version, my adapted version. So they're not like, that's not Abuela's recipe. No, it's not. It's just an alternative. If you want to bake your enchiladas, you still get that flavor. It's just either a healthier version or a quicker version. And of course, I add a few, special ingredients that I love and enjoy.
That's fantastic. I used to tell my mom, because oftentimes I would take one of her recipes and switch it up a little bit, and she'd be like, that's not my recipe. And I'm like, that's the sassy little Portuguese it's do. So it just comes out every now and then. I'm sorry. So, dad side. All right. So do your recipes ever not turn out? Does something go wrong? Do you ever make something where you're like, ooh, nobody can eat that?
I don't think we've had that, because these are recipes that have already been, created before. My abuela has made them tons of times, or my mom as well. My mom's a great cook. She'll take whatever and make this amazing meal. And so, not because she's my mother, but her recipes don't need to be tested. They're that good. And like, all of my family will attest to that. She knows how to mix ingredients and create something super flavorful. And, me on the other hand, I have to test things out. I am still learning. These ladies, they've mastered what they know what they like. And so they've been able to share the things that they know already.
That's fantastic. So where I make mistakes is also when I go on my own. I go down my own road, and then I'm like, oh,
disasters.
Yes. But I think because I grew up on a farm and we butchered our own animals, so we had access to all kinds of things like tripas de leche and, lengua and all that kind of stuff. And like, my family won't touch that stuff. Like, my children are like, no, not happening. So is there anything that your abuela makes where your kids are like, no, we're not?
A lot of things. So what I do is I don't tell them what it is until after I get their reaction. But for the most part, they're really good about enjoying or like trying out the things that my abuela. For example, if I tell them that it's hígado,
liver,
they're gonna be like, if I tell them they're like intestines, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen. They're not one to just eat lengua, they're my husband's third generation, so he didn't grow up with a lot of the things that I grew up with. And so when I try to have my kids try certain things, there's already a little apprehension. So I try not to tell them ahead of time. And then I'm like, did you like it? And they'll be like, yeah, it was okay. Or they'll be like, oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yes. So that's probably very wise of you, is not to tell them. I know that recently before shelter in place, my husband tried this. We were at the sushi place and he tried a roll and he was like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And I'm like, really? You like that? And he's like, yeah, what did you order? And I'm like, it was actually tongue. And he was like, what? It's like, what?
One time we made tacos de cabeza, and I did not tell my kids. They were in school, so they didn't see us boil the head. outdoors. And I made them tacos, de lengua. I mean, de cabeza. My grandma added all the toppings, the good salsa. They took a bite. They were wanting more. And then I took out the jawbone. And
Sorry.
they were like, and I was like, ta-da! Good, right?
That's fantastic. All right. So, what's been one of the biggest surprises since you started Abuela's Kitchen?
I would have to say like the growth. Like I didn't imagine like having 200,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. I knew there was, we were growing, but I never thought that we would get to this point where we're getting sponsored by different brands. I never pictured that. So that's been one of the biggest surprises for me and for my abuela as well.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
outstanding. And I forgot to mention that your posts are usually in Spanish and English, which I think is so unifying and fantastic that you do that.
Thank you.
It's great. So what has been some of the biggest challenges that you faced since you started this?
One of the biggest challenge was really getting my abuela to participate, to want to not share her recipes because she's super open about what she creates and how she cooks. It was more about getting her in front of the camera and continuing to be in front of the camera and to do public appearances. Those have been probably the most challenging during this whole process. She's super shy. She is very reserved unless she really likes you, and you know how that goes, right?
Yes,
She'll analyze you, and then after you've talked to her for a while, she is super funny and just outgoing. But it takes her a while to really warm up to people and to things like that. I remember there was this one company who flew in from Arkansas to record a few videos, and she was like, ay, no puedo. And I was like, come on, Grandma, yes, you can do it. Look, you're 80 years old. You can do this. Imagine, like, who's done this at 80? And so it's taken a lot of coaching from on my end to really help her feel like she has something to contribute. Because, when they've reached a certain age, when we're all going to go through that. When we reach a certain age, we feel like, we don't have too much to offer our community or the people around us. And I know my abuela, probably felt, a little left behind after my abuelo passed away. And so she was very down. And so this has actually like helped her self-esteem, and when she hears people's comments and what they write to her, like it motivates her and encourages her and just makes her feel, I know it does something to her. And I believe that's why she's 83 now.
Wow.
So that's been one of the biggest challenges, is really helping her to step out of herself and whatever it is that she was feeling that wasn't allowing her to do that, just getting her past that and to stop thinking about what others are going to say, because that was always like on her mind, like, ay, ¿qué va a decir? Or, those type of things. And so just getting her past that has been a really big challenge. But now, totally different story. She loves it, and she enjoys meeting all our YouTube fans and friends. And so it's been pretty cool to see her transition from super shy and reserved and not being confident to somebody who shines, in front of the camera.
What a gift you have given her. That is so beautiful that you helped her understand that. And then also what a gift she is giving all of us who don't have our abuelas to help us to learn how to cook these amazing traditional Mexican dishes. It's beautiful. What a lovely, lovely story, Silvia. And it's just, I think there's so much wisdom from, our older generations that I don't think our culture, our youthful culture really understands that there's so much to learn and there's so much that they have to offer us. So thank you for amplifying their voice and your Abuela's voice. It's beautiful.
After I was able to reckon, I've been a pretty big advocate of reminding people that it's never too late. Like, it's never too late to step into anything, or, it makes me teary because, it's like I've given my abuela a new, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but like a new, like, just life, like, to be able to experience things that she never did before. And, being in this position is like, it's been now my mission to really talk about stepping out of ourselves and not to allow age or anything to really stop us from fulfilling dreams and passions. And I don't even know why I'm crying. Sorry about that.
No, it's beautiful.
You can cut that out.
No, we're not going to cut it out. It's absolutely beautiful because you're talking about passion and you're talking about our purpose, and those things don't have an age. They don't have an expiration date inside of us.
Yeah, maybe this wasn't her passion, or she never saw herself doing something like this, but why not? If we feel like somebody has something to offer, why not help that person to reach their full potential? I've now included my mom as well, and she has her own story, and we're a team. Like, I've brought her in. She's a big part of Abuela's Kitchen. A lot of the stuff she does behind the scenes, you don't really see her, now you see her a little more on camera, because, we're just going in that route. But, it's really like, this Abuela's Kitchen isn't really about me. I know my Abuela is the star. Like, I do not take away credit from that. I don't take any credit from that. She is the star. And, and I want it to be that way. She is the face of Abuela's Kitchen. I am just facilitating it for her. And so, I don't even know where I was going with that, but,
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful because you're also showing all of us that you can learn. You can always learn to make new food. You can always learn new things, and how much you can impact another person's life if you believe in them. If you believe
she's
they have
83 years old, and she has a smartphone, and she's constantly scrolling through it, reading people's comments on Instagram. If her Instagram's not working, we're gonna know. Her YouTube isn't, if she's not seeing her latest video, we're gonna know. So, at 83, to be able to watch yourself and, just see all of these people commenting on things that you're sharing, it's just another world. It's something else.
Wow. I love it. I love it. I'm all teared up too. I'm a big Llorona.
Let's think about something happy now.
Well, it is really something happy because, like I said, what you've done for her, what you've done together, what a great, and now with your mom, the multi-generational connection that you have is just beautiful.
We're four generations of firstborn women. My abuela is firstborn. My mom is her firstborn. I'm a mom's firstborn. My daughter is my firstborn. So we're four women, firstborn, just I've brought in my daughter now. She shows up in the videos every once in a while, and it's 4 generations, and we're passing. I'm so blessed to still have my abuela, and that my daughter, who is a teen, can actually enjoy her bisabuela, her great grandmother, and really get to see who she was, because a lot of us don't really get to experience what our great grandparents were like. And so we question and we wonder, and she's getting the opportunity to, have to question it because she's seen it firsthand. And even like looking further down the line, like her children won't have to ask, how was great grandmother like, or how was great grandmother, my mom, like, because we have what they were like on video. And so that, to me alone, the fame, I mean, the numbers, the sponsorships, fine, but having like being able to see that legacy, that the future generations can see, that is the ultimate, like, that is the best thing that this platform has given us, me, my children, and the future,
And that is a beautiful gift. It really is. It's that connection of family and knowing who they were.
Yeah.
It's so, so lovely. Wow. Oh, now I'm like, I want my mama. I never met my abuela. I was like, oh, but okay. All right. So we are almost out of time, and it has been such a blessing to chat with you. Wow. I knew we had to connect. I just did when I saw your videos, like, oh, I got to talk to this woman. All right. Is there anything else that you want to share? Because you've made my heart very full and feeling so great and inspired about really great people out there that are supporting their family and doing something really lovely.
Thank you. I think that if there's anything that I would want to leave your audience with, is to remember your older generations, like, if they're still around, like, don't wait till they're gone to acknowledge them and to show them what they truly represent to the family, like to family in general, not just you. I don't feel like when it, I don't know how to say this, but when she's gone, I don't want to think or feel remorse that I didn't spend the time with her, that I didn't give her what she deserved, and those type of things. And I would like to tell your audience to really acknowledge the older generation and to really pay attention, give them time and listen to their stories. There's so much to learn from their age and their wisdom, and maybe they don't have a lot, but their stories will mean something to you at some time in your life, and their wisdom. And if you think back to the people who have already passed, like, their stories you're going to remember, that you do remember, and you bring them up during family time and they make you smile, or whatever the case might be. I think that we need to make sure that we hold on to those stories and we capture those stories, so that we have to know who we are, where we came from, in order to continue and to keep going and to represent and to acknowledge our past, as maybe as ugly as it was or as beautiful as it was, so that we can continue to grow and maybe even change to make things better for the future and our future generations to come. So pay attention to our older generation. They have so much, and they need us. Like, they need our time. They need our ears.
Okay, now I'm struggling to not completely bawl. So, that is so lovely, and I agree with you so very much. They have so much to share with us, so much to learn.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, woman. It was so, so lovely to chat with you. And I can't wait until the shelter in place thing is over because I truly
Yeah.
am going to invite you to come and cook with
Yes.
me. It would be so much fun. All right. So thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So for my listeners, please go and check out Abuela's Kitchen. Thank you for tuning in to Mole Mama Cooking with Love. Remember to add the most important ingredient to every recipe you make, your love. And as my mama always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you. Thank you and goodbye.